What is love? Have you ever wondered what love is? Why it matters? What does it matter, love? Or that it is really important to you. You always seek it in people and things and situations. But what is love? Today I'm going to go into the specifics of this. Now, who am I? I have worked on myself. I've done a lot of inner growth over the last 10 years, over the last decade, doing a lot of meditation, retreats, letting go work, philosophy, everything about inner work that you can think of, I have done. And therefore, I've thought about this a lot. Days just thinking about what is love? What does it mean? Why does it matter? And today I will really go deep into it. So we all have felt moments of love. I think everyone has had a moment, even if they didn't have a relationship or they didn't have a parent that loved them. Everyone has had a moment of love, either that they love themselves or that they love someone else. And we have experienced it, but we don't really truly understand it, and we don't really truly know what to do with it. We don't really know what is love. Is it just this feeling? Is it just this little thing that I feel? And then when I see the person, I feel it. And then when the person is gone, I feel brokenhearted. Is that love? And that's when we start to think, right? If you fall in love with a girl, or if you're a girl, you fall in love with a guy, then you fall in love, and it's this weird emotional thing, and all of a sudden you're no longer acting rational. You're doing things weirdly, stupidly. You feel like it's impractical almost. You'd be like, I'm so much in love, it's no longer practical, right? You're just full of this emotion and needs to get out. And that is the love that most people know. And when we talk about love, most people think of that. But what truly is love is not just romantic love. What truly is love is not just the love between a partner. That is one type of love that we all know. And that's also not something I will go into very deeply. The thing that I'm more interested in to talk about with you is about the love that we feel, not necessarily from other people, from other things, but about our own love. Love for life, for God, for the universe, love for ourselves, and love applied towards every single thing in our life. If we look at the emotional scale of letting go, we can see the lower emotions, the anger, fear, shame, and we see the higher emotions. One of the highest emotions on the emotional scale is love. It's one of the highest emotions. And yet we can say that most people don't really experience love a lot. You fall in love with someone, but besides falling in love 1 or 2 times in your life, most people can say and confirm that they don't experience that much love. And there's a lot more people that feel and experience loneliness, or that experience anger or frustration, than that they actually have emotions of love. Why is this? What makes it that it happens a few times in a lifetime for people where they truly fall in love, and then besides that, they lose it? Why is it? So we got to start with the ego. The ego is structured based on the lower emotions. This means it resonates on a lower frequency. It resonates with shame. It resonates with anger, frustration. It resonates with sadness, feeling sorry for yourself. It resonates with these lower emotions. This is not just a one-time thing, like you one time feel sad because something happened. It's a continuous state where you see people that are just constantly sad about everything, and they talk about their life almost from this filter of sadness over it, or this filter of anger over it. They're not looking at life, they're looking through the filter of that emotion. They're looking through the filters of these emotions that cover their eyes, and they cannot see clearly what's going on. Maybe you have experienced that before when you're really angry. You're super angry. You can't think clearly. You're just in that anger. You're not concerned about stuff that normally you would be concerned about. All of a sudden, all your anxiety goes away. You're just angry. It wants to get out. And when you're in that state for a long time, right, you can see how that makes you less and less clear. You become less and less clear, and you're more seeing things to be more mad about, right? Or if you have sadness, you see more things to be sad about. Or if you're ashamed or in shame, you see more things to be ashamed about, right? You see more things that you're doing wrong. For example, people that feel guilty and shame, they feel like, I'm doing a lot of things wrong. I'm always sorry, right? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And they feel and they see more things to be sorry about. It's not that you never have to apologize. It's if you're in a continuous state of just saying sorry, right? You're in a state of guilt or shame. And this all comes from not being enough, right? So if you don't feel enough, these emotions are not just momentary things throughout your day, they're constant throughout your day. So if there's this constant of negative emotion, this constant state of anger, this constant state of sadness, this constant state of shame, do we really experience love? We don't. It's hard to feel love from that place. And what then is love? How can we define love? And I have really thought about this. And I felt the best way to describe love is non-judgmentalness. It's the ability to not judge. To not judge. That's why I always say non-judgmental awareness. Because love is a bit of an abstract thing. What is love, right? People just think about falling in love with a girl or falling in love with a guy, whatever. But that is just like a momentary thing in your life. When I'm talking about love, it's more consistent. What it actually is it's this non-judgmental awareness that is always here, right? And our goal in our life, and I know this sounds really bold, but this is how I truly feel. Our goal in our life is to become more like that non-judgmental awareness, meaning becoming less and less judgmental about life, about yourself, about others. Because what is shame? What is anger? And what is fear? It's projections on life. It's conclusions on what is happening. And these conclusions are not always correct. I can give you an example. A dog is completely upset because his owner is gone. I actually had an experience of this. I was house sitting on a dog for a week. And as I was house sitting on this dog just kept on barfing. It kept on barfing the whole week. Even the neighbors came. And it just stood there next to the door, just barfing like woof, 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 woof. And, I actually was doing a meditation retreat during that time. So I was doing a meditation retreat while that dog was barfing. So it was actually, probably increased my meditation more because I learned to not judge it. But what we saw with that dog is, in that dog's mind, it's like, if I just woof enough, someone is gonna rescue me. Someone is gonna come through the door and my owner, so the dog owner, will come back, right? I want the dog owner to come back. What do I need to do? I need to woof 16 hours a day, right? And although you would say, well, it's not rational, it's not really a thing in the mind. No, it is. There's a conclusion in its mind of like, the only thing I can do right now is woof, and when I woof, it finally comes back. And in its mind, it's true. We could look at it as the humans as like, you stupid dog, why are you barfing? It doesn't help you to get the dog owner back, right? But the dog could argue with you if it could talk. Imagine a dog could talk with you. The dog could talk with you, and what it would say, well, every time I move, he comes back. How can you argue with the dog? The dog is right, right? Well, every time I barf, every time I woof, the dog owner comes back. So that means I should woof all day long. Do you understand? And you would say, from your level of consciousness and from you understanding what the dog owner actually is doing, you would say, what a stupid dog, why are you saying that? But you can't, with rationality, get there, you see. If you want to heal that dog, what you need to do is to show it love, is to show love, show non-judgmentalness, so that the dog becomes more non-judgmental, meaning it doesn't create this conclusion on the situation. So, as a dog, it created a conclusion that if I woof, my dog owner comes back. So that's why I need to woof. The reality is, whether the dog woofs or not, the dog owner comes back anyways. Right? So the dog thinks it's my woofing that makes the dog owner comes back. Now, how many things in your life are like this, right? A lot. And if we are this dog, and we are this dog that always has these conclusions about life and we're acting irrationally, we can't get there through rationality. What we got to do is to become aware, become more conscious, meaning maybe I created too soon of a judgment on this situation, on this thing. If the dog never created a conclusion, making the correlation between woofing and the dog owner coming back, but instead it would philosophize. It would question that thought of like, if I woof, does the dog owner come back? You see? Is that true? And really question its own beliefs and thoughts. It would become more non-judgmental. It wouldn't necessarily go to the conclusion of, if I don't woof, the dog owner comes back, because someone would have to explain that to that dog, right? So that would not necessarily be the thing that happens. But what happens is that it doesn't start to react. What happens is it starts to become more non-judgmental. It would become more aware of, why am I getting to this conclusion? Why am I getting to this conclusion about this thing, about this person, about this situation, about this moment, about this relationship, about this situation in my life? I'm going to give you an example for your life. Let's say you are in a bad situation. Have you ever had a bad situation that actually turns out to be pretty good? You thought something horrible would happen, and in your mind you believed it, you thought it, and it was so real for you. Have you felt that? I think every one of you have felt that, right? Where you're just like, something horrible is gonna happen. Like maybe you even think you will die or something like that. Like something crazy. And you look back on it and you're like, why did I believe that thought? Why did I believe, and why did I act on that thought? Because there's so many thoughts that you have during the day you don't act on, right? It's not that it's the fault of the thought. Oh, you have a thought in your mind, it's the fault of the thought. That's judging the thought. The thought is not the problem, right? Is that we get to the conclusion, we get to the judgment to say that thought is true. So, becoming more non-judgmental means to judge life less. Meaning you don't know. You don't know. And wouldn't it be better for the dog if it didn't know? If instead of woofing, it just started to question its own beliefs and start to see, maybe this is not real, maybe this is just a stupid thought, and I don't have to act on it. That's becoming more conscious, that's becoming more non-judgmental. Therefore, it's the opposite of shame. What is judging yourself very critically? Shame says, you're a bad person, you're a wrong person, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you're bad for this, you're wrong for this. And it judges yourself very harshly. Very, very harshly, you're judging. This is wrong, that is wrong. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. I am bad for this, I am wrong for this. See, that's what shame does. So shame suppresses you, your true full potential. That is why a society that's built on shame can never truly blossom and flower. It can only be from the foundation of love. from the foundation of non-judgmentalness, where we don't judge others. We don't judge ourselves. We don't judge God, life, universe, Shiva, Allah, Jesus, Buddha, anyone. We don't judge anyone. If we don't judge anyone, we have to start to look at ourselves. And then we're like, maybe it was my fault. Meaning, maybe it was my fault in believing these thoughts to be true. Instead of saying it's their fault, it's the government's fault, it's everyone else's fault. What if it's you? What if it's you? What if it's not the fault of others? What if it's the fault of you, and not in a shameful way or guilt-tripping way, where I would say it's your fault, you're wrong, you're bad. No, I'm just saying, what if it's in your control? If it's out of your control, all right, if it's out of your control, that means it's in other people's hands. It's other people's faults. It's the fault of the situation. It's the fault of God. It's the fault of life. And you're a victim. But what if it's not someone else's fault? What if it's your fault for believing a thought to be true? And what if we don't judge ourselves for believing a thought to be true as well? Because that would, again, be judgment. So to be truly non-judgmental means to not even judge yourself for that, but just to become aware that all these thoughts that I believed in, they shaped my perspective on life. They put a filter over life, and I couldn't really clearly see what's here. When I let go of those filters, through either letting go work, meditation, where you become more aware, conscious, or through philosophy, where the extreme thoughts become more balanced and they become more nuanced. In all those directions, you start to see that it's not so much about judging what is, acting on those judgments. Let's say there's a thought. You're bad. You're wrong. You're a bad person. Let's say that thought comes up. You're a bad person because you did this or you did that. Our belief in that thought makes it have any power over us. So the only job that ever needs to be done to become more and more loving, more and more non-judgmental, is to question the thoughts. To question the thoughts that arise. And to see that we truly don't know. It's not like, oh, that thought is not true and this thought is true. You're right, that thought is not true, but this thought is true. It's like, also those thoughts might be true, might be not. That is philosophy. Philosophy is not knowing what is true. True philosophy, not the philosophy that gets to conclusions too fast. I'm talking about philosophy that is endless. Endless philosophy means endlessly you see that you don't know. And why is that good? What's the help of that? Like, you're now moving forward in your life, you don't know where to do, you don't know where to go, you're not judging, And you think, what is the benefit for you in that? The benefit for you is that you don't have to woof like the dog 16 hours a day. Because you realize this thought that I have, I don't necessarily need to act on it. Because it's not true. So the truth can truly come forth when all the illusion starts to fall away. So what this is more about is about falling away of illusions, falling away of social conditioning, falling away of all the things society has taught you, and really getting grounded in that non-judgmentalness, where you're not judging life, situations, people, things you do. Think about an addiction that you have, and I think most of you have some form of addiction, and I don't care what it is. Maybe reading too much newspapers. Still an addiction. Any addiction you have, think about it and see how you're judging yourself in that. You're saying, I shouldn't do this. I got to stop this. I have to quit it now. Right? That is that judgment. And how could this help someone recover from, for example, an addiction? Is to understand you don't have to judge yourself. You can love yourself throughout this. Even if you never overcome your addiction, even if you're addicted till you're 80, you can still love yourself through all of that. Because it's a journey, it's not a destination. It's a direction, it's not perfection. Perfectionism is judgment. It's saying this needs to be done now. This needs to be fixed now. It doesn't. We just become more aware. We just become more conscious. We just become more non-judgmental. And we truly get to the core of love. So now we can talk about love, and we can see how becoming more loving towards yourself, become more loving towards others, not being so quick to judge someone, to judge yourself, to judge situations in life. And with this not knowing, you start to feel love. And with this not knowing, the truth can come in. Because truth doesn't come in through being stuck in a filter. Your filters of ego have to fall away. That's the letting go process. The letting go process is more filters falling away from your ego. More filters of anger, sadness, shame, things that people just have taught you, or your own impulses and compulsive behaviors, your animalistic instinct. The mind draws conclusions. It always goes all the way to the left or all the way to the right. That's why we have people that vote for the left and people that vote for the right. But there's no nuance. There's no nuance. Nuance is one of the closest things to complete non-judgmentalness. So nuance would mean not so much black and white, not so much extremes of this is how it is or that is how it is, but more a nuanced understanding of something. Where you say, I agree with these things, but these, I don't know, I would change this and this and that. If you look at a political party, for example. And then here comes to see how judgmental we are. And I think this exposes our own judgment, right? If I talk about the opposite political party that you vote for, and if you cannot point to 10 to 20 things that are good about that political party, then you're clearly in a judgmental place. Because there are good things in both parties. There are good things in the left, there are good things in the right, but it's not the truth. There are bad things in the left and right too. You see, so a more nuanced perspective is the closest to non-judgmentalness. But complete non-judgmentalness, that is what true love is. This is where you're not trying to change people. He should change, she should change, he should improve, she should improve. Sometimes I notice in myself, I might be too ambitious of helping someone or helping you guys on the internet with these things. But that's also like me pushing my own agenda onto you, saying you should get this, you should understand this. And you don't. Right? You don't. These are all conclusions about life. And it's very easy to make a conclusion about life. I could talk about how rabbits are the most annoying creatures on the planet. Just a random statement. Now, if I just think about that for 10 days and I talk to everyone about it, I can convince 20 people that rabbits are the most annoying species, and they all agree with me. And I agree with it. And it's just a thought. It's just a conclusion that is not true necessarily. It's just a stupid thought. Even to say it's a stupid thought, again, is judgment. See how deep this goes? See how deep this goes, how soon you judge, how soon you become judgmental, how soon you get out of love. Because love is not necessarily in the mind. You see, the mind is this or that, this or that. It's like this, it's like that. You should be like this, you should be like that. Life should be like this. Now we can look at certain aspects of life where this applies to, because it's one thing to talk about all of this, and if this sounds too philosophical, I don't really want to talk about that to you, because I want you to feel that this is practical, that this is not just a thought or something, that this is actually can be applied to your life. Because what is the use of some idea or thought or philosophy if it's not practically being used? So let's look at relationships, right? In relationships. Now this one is actually easy, because how many times in relationships do you judge the other person? Okay? I caught myself also with doing this. You talk to someone and you come to conclusions way too fast. You're like, oh, you're this kind of person, or you're that kind of person, or this is what you mean, or that is what you mean. Instead of actually listening. Not knowing. Even though you think you know what they're saying, not knowing. Just listening. becoming aware, becoming conscious. You see, most of the time we want to talk, make conversation, directly say something, and then what we directly say is just some stupid judgment. But if we pause and become aware, we can really see more clearly. We can really see the truth. When the illusions of judgment fall away, what is the mind? What's judging life? When that falls away, there's just a present moment. There's just here, there's just now. And in the present moment, you become aware. And therefore, the truth starts to reveal itself. You might talk to someone from that present place and things just click, things just align. For you, for them, even to the point where you have relationships that are maybe toxic and they just fall away because they no longer resonate. You see, they no longer resonate. If you're growing too much in love and another person is in shame, guilt tripping you, making you feel ashamed, angry, at some point it no longer starts to resonate with you. So they either have to come more towards you or there's just no resonance and it lets go. That's law of attraction, right? It's like you resonate on a certain frequency and things don't connect with you anymore. But what you start to realize as well is that maybe because of your non-judgmentalness, now all of a sudden opportunities with relationships open up that didn't before. Because as you rise towards more love, towards more non-judgmentalness, things that normally you wouldn't be able to connect with, people you normally wouldn't be able to connect with because they are more evolved than you, because they have grown more than you, all of a sudden you start to connect with. All of a sudden you can build a connection with these people. Because you start to resonate on the same level. And people that don't resonate at that level, maybe you see them less or they fall away or something like that. So that is what it is. The funny thing is it's a protection. Your not knowing of life is a protection shield from a lot of bullshit. Right? People talk about, I'm in this toxic relationship and I've had this toxic relationship and this and this and that. Well, maybe if you were not so judgmental, you wouldn't get into that relationship in the first place. And I'm guilty of this too, right? I've had relationships that later on I'm like, maybe I was not really protecting myself. And protection from a fearful place is like boundaries, don't come near to me. But from a truly conscious place, it's just you're resonating towards love for yourself, love for others, and if people are not on that level, they just fall away. They go away or you go away from them because it doesn't resonate. You see? And if it's kind of like a guilty pleasure that people have, they feel like themselves in those relationships. It's an identity thing. So If you have a toxic relationship, it's an identity thing. It's like you feel like you're worthless. You feel that is who you are. You feel that you don't deserve to be treated with respect and love. So therefore, you resonate with a relationship of that way because your personality is feeling worthless, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you don't deserve love and respect. But when you become more non-judgmental and you don't judge yourself and you don't judge life and others, it's not just yourself, also others and life. Because that directly reflects how you judge yourself. If you say, I don't judge myself, but this person does that and that person does that, you're still judging yourself because you would not allow yourself to do that. Right? If I say, for example, and this is a thought that many people have, many people think Trump is a horrible person, right? So they say, Trump is a horrible person. But what are you doing? You say, I don't judge myself, I love myself, but he's a horrible person. You're never allowing yourself to look in the truth. Look at the truth. And not on your conditioned mind and your projections on life. Are there things you can agree with him? Maybe. Are there things that you disagree with him? Maybe. But to say someone is this or that is just conditioning. Because other people say it, so you just feel like, you're not thinking about it. You're just repeating what other people say. You're not actually looking. Imagine Trump was your uncle or whatever. You would see that you wouldn't judge Trump if it was your uncle. You wouldn't judge him with that harshness. So do you see how we become more disconnected? Both in the left and the right. I don't care your political stand. In both parties. We become more disconnected. We stand against each other. We say Trump is bad. Or we say Putin is bad. And I don't care if they're bad or they're good. It's about the conclusions that we come to. Prematurely. And it's always prematurely. You always come to conclusions prematurely. You should never come to conclusions at all. We think we should become more intelligent and come to better conclusions so we can figure out life. It's the opposite. You should become to less conclusions about life, about ourselves, about things. And that's when we can truly look at life as the way it is. Because God is not thinking Trump is a bad person. God is not thinking Putin is a bad person. God is not thinking you are a bad person. Only you are. So only you can fix it. Only you can become less judgmental. It's like people pray to God and be like, God, please love me. And God is like, I love you already. God already loves you. Universe already loves you. Awareness is already not judgmental. Awareness doesn't judge already. So it's a you job. So if God could talk to you, it says, I already love you. Just love yourself. Just love others. You don't have to get love from me. You can get it yourself. You are your own source of love. So back to relationships. This is going to be a really long video. So for anyone that's still watching, thank you. This is going really deep, and I've really thought about this a lot, as you can see. So, when you have a relationship, someone judges you, and the first thing you do is you defend them, defend yourself. You're like, no, it's not my fault. Or if you're in the shame cycle, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, right? But what you could actually do when someone judges you is to actually look at it, become aware, and become conscious, and ask yourself, is this true about me? So someone comes and they judge you and they say, oh, you're like an asshole, or you're like a really cool person, or you're so fun, or you're so terrible. Doesn't matter, positive, negative. Just become aware and see what you can do, because right now you either can say that is who I am, what in a positive way wouldn't be too bad, but or you could say, maybe a part of this is true. Maybe a part of this is true. And maybe it's something I will work on in the future. And then you can get data. You can see, okay, this is something I can work on. I can grow in. But also, people don't always say things in the nicest way, right? People are very harsh with their judgment. And it's mainly because it comes from an emotional place. And therefore, they could give you data. So someone says, you're always angry or you're always frustrated, right? And one thing you could do is that you make that your character. So you'd be like, okay, I am just always frustrated and angry. That's just who I am. That's who I am. Or you could look at it and be like, oh, sometimes I'm a bit angry and frustrated. Let's work on that a little bit. But no perfection. I don't have to not be angry at all. You just become more conscious that slowly throughout the journey, like a marathon, we become a little less angry, and then we can see that what they gave us was, they gave us advice mixed in a package of a lot of judgment and hate and stuff. So you need to get away from that hate and judgment. Just look at the data. Just look at working on becoming less angry. Great. Now we have a goal we could work on. But then we're not going to say we need to be perfect. We're not going to judge ourselves throughout that process. So even though we become less angry, that is the data that we got from that conversation, we take our time. It maybe takes 10 years, 20 years. We take our time. We just say, I'm not going to judge myself throughout this journey. And we can work on that and become less angry. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how normally you would either say that it's me, that's who I am, or you would defend yourself and say, that's not true. Don't say that. That's not true. That's not me. And another thing you could see is sometimes that people will judge you, and it is not true. That could be true too. So sometimes people say something, and it's not true at all. It's just their own projection on you. So that could be true as well. So it could be that the person just projects on you. It could be that the person says something truthful, but in an ugly, judgmental package. So therefore you have to get away from the judgment and from the emotion that was charged behind it, and get more to the data and see it more as a goal that towards your life you work on more like that, where you're not judging yourself, you're not looking for perfection and you need to always be this, you need to always act like this. Because that's also what happens in relationships, right? People say something to you And they say, that's who you are. And now, let's say they say something negative that you are. And now you have to be that negative person. That is what happens in toxic relationships. Like, in toxic relationships, it's always like, it's your fault. It's always your fault. You're always wrong. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry. That, what is that? It's them creating a judgment about you, and you saying that is true, and therefore I'm sorry. No. Don't be sorry. Get the data. Maybe, why are you wrong? What did you do wrong? Okay, that. Well, maybe we will work on that in the next year. No rush, no hurry, no judgment. Because that is consciousness. Consciousness is not becoming unaware and saying, that's not who I am, that's not what I do. It's becoming more aware. So relationships help you to become more aware. For a lot of people, it helps them to become aware of what they're doing, because people are reflecting to them what they are doing. But it's about the integration process of that thing that the person said that is way more important. How do you integrate? Do you do that from a place of judgment and self-hate, where you say, I am like this and I shouldn't be? I should stop that. I should quit that. What is all judgment? Or are you more from a place where you're not judging, and you start to see, this is something I work on, but there's no deadline I need to get this done, or to be that perfect person at this point in my life. If I am, after 40 years, still not, still have anger issues or stuff like that, then that's fine. That's love. Love is not getting rid of everything now that is bad. That's judgment. The worst thing you can do to someone that's addicted is to say to that person that's addicted, you should stop, you should quit, you should end it, now, do it. Why? Because you're reinforcing an unconscious cycle of shame. And what do we want to do more? Things that are guilty pleasures. Right? We love the things that we judge the most. We indulge in addiction because we judge it so much. As a society, we judge people with drug addictions. We judge people with alcoholism. We judge people that have any kind of addiction, right? Even people that eat a lot, we judge them for stop eating so much, or we judge them for how they look for eating a lot. We judge people a lot. This is why we call our society unconscious, because they judge a lot. We judge a lot. And even though I'm quite conscious, I still judge a lot. Right? So it's a journey for all of us to become more and more loving, less and less judgmental. And this is the work you have to do. It's work you have to do. Love is not something that happens when you fall in love with a girl, blah, blah, blah. It's work you have to do on yourself, working on yourself, because you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to work on yourself. If you love yourself, you want to improve yourself. You want to become valuable. You want to give value to others. And in order to give value to others, you need to become valuable. So you become more person of value. That's why people that are not person of value might not resonate with you, or you don't resonate with them anymore. Because you're becoming a person of value. You're thinking about others. You're thinking about giving. You're not thinking about your own egoic stuff. And yet you're thinking about improving yourself. What you could say is egoic. In a sense, you're improving yourself. You're empowering yourself. You're loving yourself. You give all the love to you so that you can give all the love to others. So 33% you love yourself, 33% you love others, and 33% you love God and consciousness. That is love. Love is not just this narcissistic thing of like, I 100% love myself and I don't love anyone else, because that's not real love. Real love is inclusive. It's saying, I love myself, I love them, I love God, I love everyone. That is true love. Love is not, I love this specific person and that's it. Besides my partner, I don't love anyone else. That's not love. That's attachment. That is ego. True love is looking at everyone and saying, I love everyone. Doesn't mean I always will be friends with them or whatever, or that I will align with them. You also got to understand that, right? So just because I love someone doesn't mean I'll align with them. Doesn't mean that I want them in my life necessarily. But doesn't mean I hate them. I love them. There are people I haven't spoken to in 10 years and I love them. It just doesn't resonate anymore. You understand? So love is it's not just about others, it's not just about you. It's both. It's you and others. It's self-love and giving love to others. And if you truly love yourself, you truly start to see that at some point you have to give to others as well. Because if you truly love yourself, think about it. If you truly love yourself, it also means to, for example, make money. How do you make money? By giving to other people. If you truly love yourself, you want a loving relationship. How do you get a loving relationship? By loving someone else. Do you see? So if you go completely selfish, you become completely selfless. If you become completely selfless, you become completely selfish, because you realize you can give more if you become more valuable. You can give more, and you can give more value, and you can create more value in the world by becoming more valuable yourself. I know I'm ranting this whole video, but there's just so much stuff that I want to talk about, and it's just oozing from me. So that is why it comes out in the bit passionate way that I talk. So just take whatever resonates with you right now. Maybe a lot of stuff is still too abstract for you, too out there for you. But really looking at this more and more, you start to see more and more the direction where we should go to as a society, but also as an individual. Because every individual creates a society. So it's not just blaming society and saying all society is unconscious. No, you're unconscious. Right? Become more conscious. Become less judgmental. Notice your judgments. Projections on your partner, projections on other people, projections on your life. All these projections that you do all these things that make you feel emotional and makes you feel like, I just want to blame this person for this thing that they did, and they're so bad and they're so wrong, and Trump is wrong, and Putin is wrong, and everyone is wrong, and that country is wrong. Do you see the division that happens with judgment? Do you see how more you get away from the truth, what is unity, consciousness, everything is one? Awareness means everything is one. Everything is one means, how could you ever judge something? Because what if that is you? What if that is you that you judge? Would you still judge it? What if you are Trump? What if you are Putin? What if you are all these people? Because you are. God is everything. So you are all of these people too. You are all of these people too. Then how can you judge? Because God is not judging. Only you are. God doesn't hate you, only you are. No one hates you more than you. No one judges you more than you. What if you don't judge yourself at all for now? So we talked about relationships. What about money? How many judgments do you have about money? First of all, about your money situation. I don't have enough money. I need to make more money. I need to have... It's the fault of the government. It's the fault of your boss. It's the fault of society. It's the fault of your country. It's the fault of the company you work for, or it's the fault of Corona when Corona happened. All these judgments on finances, basically saying you're just a victim to life. You're not the creator of life. Another thing about your spending. I'm spending too much. I'm spending too little. This is too expensive. This is too cheap. All these judgments we have on money. Is this cheap? Is this expensive? Is this what I should buy? Is this not what I should buy? We have all these judgments on this is bad, this is good, around money. If you have so much money, you're a bad person. If you have so much money, you're a good person. But where is the line? You see, all these ideas are so rigid, but when we get to the details, where is the line? Where is the line? Let's say you judge a person that is a millionaire. And you say, oh, he has €1,000,000, he's a bad person. And you are saying, well, if you have €100,000, you have your own house, it's fine, it's not a problem. But where between €100,000 and €1,000,000, where in there between do you become a bad person? What is the line? Is it 299,000 Is that where like that's when you become bad? You see, so all these thoughts are ridiculous. Someone told them to us, and we believed them. We believed them. It's like you should never have learned language. It's like you should have always been a baby not learning anything, because when you think about it, you have taken up all these concepts of everyone else. And now you're judging yourself. What is the most loving thing? A baby doesn't judge if it farts, if it does anything, if food comes all over its clothes. It doesn't even understand money. You would give a baby, let's say you give a baby €1,000,000. Is now the baby bad because it has €1,000,000? No. Yet we believe these things, yet we believe these idiotic thoughts. And it's not that there's no nuance to it. I'm not saying that there's no bad things you could do with money. Yeah, you could. You definitely could. So what about your spending habits? How are you judging yourself with your spending habits? I shouldn't buy this, shouldn't do this. And then afterwards you buy it and you feel guilty for buying it. What if we just get rid of guilt and shame? What if you just buy it and just don't judge it? You get rid of the shame, you get rid of the guilt, just buy it, just do it, and become conscious. Become aware, become conscious. Buy it consciously, so you buy something. Bloop. That is the credit card. Bloop. You buy it consciously. No judgment. And then maybe you see changes in how you spend, maybe not. It doesn't matter. It matters that you become conscious. It matters that you move more, therefore, towards non-judgmentalness and less towards judgment. You're not a bad person. It's just a belief. It's just a thought. I'm a bad person. You're not. You're not. You never were. Right? So become aware. Spending money. Okay, you're doing it consciously. Spending way too much on Cheetos. And spending way too much on gummy bears. Oh no, I will feel so guilty that I bought all this mess, all this stuff. Just don't feel guilty about it. Just don't feel guilty about it, and you might start to see you no longer buy it. You think you should listen to the guilt and shame and therefore not buy it. No, just become conscious when you're buying it, and you might realize you don't buy it, and maybe you realize you do buy it. But both ways, you're free. Both ways, you're not judging, you're loving yourself. You're saying, I freaking deserve these gummy bears. Give them to me. It's love, you see. So therefore, we can also not say that someone buying gummy bears is unconscious. No. It's unconscious if afterwards you feel guilty and shameful and all of that. It's not the thing you do, it's how you do it. For example, I can take this spoon right here. And if I go like this and la 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 and I throw it at someone, that's a bit unconscious, right? It's now the spoon's fault. could take the spoon very consciously, right? Become aware, consciously put it away. Same object, same thing. Now handled consciously from a place of love, from a place of non-judgment, and it's not the object's fault, you see. We always want to blame the objects. We want to blame the gummy bears. We want to blame the Cheetos. We want to blame people blame the alcohol, blame the cigarettes. What if we don't blame anything? What if we don't blame the objects? But if you just become conscious, and therefore we do everything consciously. And if you would take the philosophical approach, you would say, is it bad to buy this? Or not? Is it bad to buy this or not? I don't know. You see, when you come to a point where you truly don't know, you don't know. You no longer know if eating the gummy bears is bad or not. That is love. Love is not knowing anything. And that's when truth can come in. And then the truth comes in and you're like, I no longer resonate with that. And more often than not, you let go of things when you become more conscious. So it's not that everything you let go of, but more often than not, those gummy bears start to become less attractive because it's just meaningless. And there's no guilty pleasure about it. You know, you like it because people judge you for it and they be like, you're eating gummy bears again, you should stop it. And you're like, I should stop it, but I like it. That's why you keep buying it. But if there's no judgment, meaning you give yourself full freedom to get yourself gummy bears, now it's like, well, the whole excitement is gone from it. It was fun because it was a guilty pleasure. But if it's no longer guilty pleasure, where's the fun? What about saving? Are you always saving? Right? Afraid to spend? Or are you always spending? You can look at your life and you can see how consciously am I doing things? How consciously am I handling money? How consciously am I handling relationships? With how much judgment do I go into relationships? With how much judgment do I go into money? And it's not that there will no longer be thoughts of judgment. There will be judgment thoughts. They will come. I can bet you they will come. But do you believe them? You see? So there's a difference between just a thought and your belief in the thought. If there's just a thought and you question the thought was never the problem. But if the thought comes and you believe it and you act on it, that's when the thought becomes a problem. So thoughts, like the typical meditation is, you see them come and go, right? Come, go, come, and go. Most what we do is thought comes, we believe it, we act on it. So now if thought comes, we become aware of it, we don't judge it, and we let it go. Now, how could this improve your finances? It could improve your finances and your money by seeing that you no longer compulsively buy stuff. You do everything consciously. So therefore you do it less. Even if you still buy the gummy bears, you probably do it less. Now you're not buying them every day, maybe once a week. I don't know why I said gummy bears. It was just a funny thing that came in mind. And what else, right? So the saving, right? People that always hoard money and they feel very afraid. Now they spend more and they don't judge themselves for spending. They're not like, oh, like I'm not building generational wealth because I spent €2 on some nice bread. You see the ridiculousness of that? You see that ridiculousness of like the saving thing of like, oh, you spent €2 on bread and now your generational wealth, your Bitcoin asset is no longer gonna prosper and you will have to work till you're 70, stuff like that, right? So people that save, if you save, always keep save. If you save a lot, you feel like every dollar you spend, it's like it's going to completely ruin your future. No. In fact, a lot of times, if you spend your money on becoming more valuable, spend your money on improving yourself, you can give more value to others. And when you give more value, you make more money. So you're actually holding yourself back by not investing in yourself. You're actually holding yourself back by not spending money. And then, of course, be conscious where you spend your money, right? Are you spending money on giving to others, what improves your soul? Are you spending money on maybe church or God or spirituality, what improves your connection with yourself, with your soul? Or are you spending it on your own business? Right, I want to buy a better camera, so soon I will buy a better camera so it can bring more value to you. So I become more valuable. And when I become more valuable, I can give more value to you. See the cycle? The cycle is I become more valuable, I give more value, and I get more value in return. It's like heaven. And then the hell is I'm addicted. I need to buy more gummy bears. I need to buy more things for my own ego that's insecure. So I need to buy more Prada, or I need to buy more Louis Vuitton to impress others. See? So then you're spending in ego. Are you spending in ego? Or are you spending in a conscious way? What is value? And there's no judgment on what that could be. For some people, a nicer apartment would actually improve themselves. For others, it would just to impress others. So it's not necessarily what it is, it's where you're coming from. So for one person, that nice apartment could actually be an unconscious way to spend to just impress people. For another person, that beautiful place has a beautiful view, it would make them more think bigger, and it would create more opportunities for them to create more wealth. So we can see a clear distinction with all of this from love and hate. Hate is judgment. Love is non-judgmental. You have love and hate. You have God and ego. So we're moving more towards God, to awareness, and less towards ego. With everything. With relationships. With your emotions. With everything. Let's cover 2 more things and then we're going to end this video because I think it's really long video. So another thing is emotions. When emotion comes, first thing we do is judge it. Emotion comes, anger. I shouldn't feel this anger. I should get away from this anger. It's a judgment. This anger means I need to act. Judgment. I have a desire, I need to do it, judgment. I have to, I got to. You see these compulsive thoughts of have to, got to, need to. Not I can do in a minute, when there's time, yes. No, I have to do now, do this, got to, have to. You see? Very judgmental, very much saying something has to happen now. So the more compulsive you are, the less you can wait to go to the toilet. If you really need to go to the toilet, and you're like, I need to go to the toilet now, you're very compulsive. If you're conscious, you can wait an hour, 2 hours, and then go. You see, that is what consciousness is you can wait. You don't have to do now, you don't have to act now, you don't have to rush anything. You can just slowly move towards the thing that needs to be done, like going to the toilet. All right. So, emotions, we judge emotions. Anger, fear, sadness, all these things of things that you shouldn't feel. You shouldn't feel sad, you shouldn't feel afraid, you shouldn't feel anger, you shouldn't feel anxiety. Let's say you're talking to someone and all of a sudden you feel anxious. You're like, I shouldn't feel anxious. Or all of a sudden you feel insecure when you're talking to someone. I shouldn't feel insecure. What actually would help in that situation would just say it to the person. Just say, I'm a little bit anxious. I'm a little bit nervous right now. It helps because that actually makes you be more authentic. So, emotions, they come and go just like thoughts. And when you're emotional, we judge the emotion, and therefore the emotion, you want to push it down, but just like you push down a ball underwater, it comes up higher. So normally the ball floats on the water and it comes and goes. But when you have a ball and you judge it, you push it down, so you push down your emotions, and what happens, it comes up higher. So that's why your emotions is in a swing. It's like, I feel horrible, I feel amazing, I feel horrible, I feel amazing. Instead of like, horrible, amazing, yeah. I feel good, I feel sad, I feel this. And it just comes and goes like that, right? But no, it's like this emotion, push it down, it comes right back up. And if not that emotion comes back up, something else comes back up. An old trauma or something. Right? So we can get rid of it by pushing it down. And we shouldn't get rid of it. You shouldn't get rid of your emotion. You should just become aware of it. Be conscious of it. Love it. Love your emotions. Love your sadness. Love your anger. Love your fear. Love it. Watch it. Be aware of it. Become conscious of it. You don't have to release it. Do some emotional release. No. You can just watch it. Be aware. It comes and goes. Before you know it, it's gone. You're like, come back. Come back, sadness. I want to feel more sad. Come back, anger. I want to feel my anger. But it just comes and goes. If you just watch it, if you're just conscious. Because we don't make it a big thing. If we make it a big thing, like an emotion, we shouldn't have it, we should push it down. We make it a big thing. When it's not a big thing, it's just an emotion. It feels like it's a big thing, right? If you feel jealousy, you feel like it's such a big thing, you should do something. No, you shouldn't do anything. And just because you have a desire, or you have jealousy, or you have some emotion that you think, now I should do something, like going to the toilet, you feel like I should go now. That's the mind. Become aware of the mind, become conscious of the mind, become conscious of your emotion. And you're like, well, all the alarm bells are going off, but I don't need to act. I don't need to do. Even though all the alarm bells go off, if I just stay conscious, they just turn off at the point, and then it's just quiet. And that's how you become more conscious. Instead of going to the toilet directly now, you wait a second. Instead of eating directly now, you wait a second. You wait 2 minutes. You give yourself time. You don't rush. You become less judgmental about the emotion. You become less judgmental of needing to get rid of it. And even if you cannot do this, so you hear this and you hear like, oh, this is how it should be with my emotions, and then you're not doing that, you're not being conscious for a moment, and now you judge yourself for that too. No. You don't have to judge yourself for being unconscious. That's also stupid. Right? And people pointing out, you're acting from ego, you're acting from ego. Who cares? Who cares? No judgment. No judgment on anyone, not on yourself or on others. Just love yourself. Love yourself. Love others. Love your emotions. Love everything. You see, love is the healing power. And it sounds so cliche, but I don't think anything I said was super cliche. I think it was really extreme. And I don't think this necessarily will resonate with a lot of people. But for the people that it does resonate with, it hits home really deeply, because I went really deep into love. I didn't make it some philosophical bullshit that you cannot do anything with. I showed how it applies to everything in your life, how it applies to your relationship, how it applies to your money, how it applies to your mental well-being, to your physical well-being, to your emotional well-being. It applies to everything. It's the inner work. The only inner work that ever needs to be done is self-love, is love. Self-love and loving others and loving God. That's the only inner work. We make it so complex, and maybe you look at this video and you feel it's super complex. No, this is the only inner work around all these different things. We can either act from ego or we can act from love. We can either act for becoming more unworthy, worthless, shameful, egoic, or more conscious, loving. Because that's truly what it is. You see, love is God. God is love. And your ego is also loved by God. So we cannot even say ego is bad. See, the only reason ego exists is because it judges itself. Ego judges itself. It says, I am bad. But God never said you're bad. You said that. God never judges you. You do that. Do you see how loving the universe truly is? Do you understand and do you feel the love of God? And that's not some man in the sky. I'm talking about the unity, God, universe, consciousness. Do you feel that love? Do you see how it's just not judging you no matter what? You could be the worst person. I don't care. It doesn't judge you ever. It doesn't judge you ever. It cannot even judge you ever. It would have to become some ego, little limited form to judge you. So what happens? When we judge less, we become more unified with God, with consciousness. We become more like consciousness. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And you can do this. Right now. You can question your thoughts. Right now. It's free. You don't need to buy any course, not my course, nothing. You can just question your thoughts. You can just observe your emotions and thoughts and realize what real love is. What is God? Love is God. And it's everything. If you can feel this, if this made you more conscious, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Love to make these videos for you. I will see you in the next video.